Hi everybody. It's been a while since I've posted a video. If you've watched many of my past videos, then you know I'm not able to keep a layout up permanently, so I have a modular layout. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to put it up in a while, but I will be assembling it soon, so I'm now doing a short video about something I'm working on in preparation for that. The engines in these three pictures are my engines that have smoke units. Most of them put out a moderate amount of smoke that's acceptable in my room, but even the smoke from these engines can be objectionable after a while. Still, I have to run them quite a while before they get to that point. However, these three engines, based upon comments from family and friends, put out too much smoke to run more than a lap or two in my room. I reworked the smoke units to moderate the smoke, but still, if I want to run those engines for extended periods of time, then I need to do something else. That's why I decided to put switches in those engines so I can turn the smoke units on and off. The first thing I had to do was slightly rewire the engines, because if I just snip a wire going to the smoke unit and install a switch, then the headlamp will shut off the same time the smoke unit is shut off. So I still have one wire running from the contact point to the smoke unit and then onto the light, which is still soldered in place even though you can't see it here. This would normally also be done on the other side, but instead I ran one wire from the contact point straight to the light. I then ran another wire from the second smoke unit post to the back of the engine and one more short wire from the rear contact. These wires will connect to the switch. I like to work with a company called DigiKey for electronic components. This company is based in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, which isn't far from my home in eastern North Dakota. They have thousands of items and will ship out even small orders, like a few of these switches, and I think they are very reasonably priced. I'm not trying to promote any one vendor. You should use whoever you like. But for those of you who might be interested in doing what I'm showing in this video and don't know how to get such switches, this gives you a credible vendor that you can consider. I have a son-in-law who's an electrical engineer and works with DigiKey on a regular basis. He helped me find the three switches that I'll be showing in this video. One of the engines I want to put a switch in is a 342 AC that I recently acquired. As you can see in these pictures, it's in good cosmetic condition. I took it apart, gave it a good cleaning, and replaced the wiring harness and reverse unit fingers. After that, as you can see in this video, the engine runs well. I'll use this engine to demonstrate two of the switches. The first one is this switch, which is part number 3870-ND. This screenshot shows information about the switch, including the price. You can get a lot more technical information about it if you go to the web page. This is a small push-button switch that could fit in the back of the cab like this. I'll use some test leads to demonstrate this switch. Of course, on the layout, I would stop the engine to push the switch, but I'll test the switches in this manner for this video. I decided to install the switch in this way. The wire I used is stranded but very stiff, so I think the switch will stay in place. I still need to insulate the posts, but I think this will work. I'll know more about that when I run it on the layout. The next switch is this slightly larger push button switch. It would still fit in the 342 AC, but is a bit snug. However, it fits nicely in the 356 Silver Bullet that I also want to put a switch in. Here are a few pictures of that. This video shows the switch already installed in the Silver Bullet. This would also fit well in a 312 Pacific that I want to put a switch in. The third switch I tested is this slide switch. I don't anticipate using this in an engine because sliding the switch won't be nearly as convenient as pushing a button, but I might find another use for it on the layout. So I've now installed a switch in these two engines, and I'm looking forward to running them on the layout and installing one in my 312. I also want to point out that the wiring modification that I made can be easily restored back to the original if a future owner would decide to do that. So that's it for this video. As always, I'm interested in your thoughts. Thanks for watching.